I call this meeting to order at 4 p.m. on June 10th, 2024. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good afternoon, all. Before we begin, I would like to remind everyone of the ground rules for our town hall meetings. Please note that the fire exits, in case of emergency, calmly and quickly walk to the exits. Do not run. Do not use the elevators. The restrooms are located to my right in the hallway. We will follow the order of the agenda. The agenda is located at the table near the entrance. I'd like to remind everyone of the ground rules for public input as outlined by the town code. The town board welcomes public input and reserves time every meeting for this meeting for this purpose. When it's your turn to speak, please step up to the lectern, speak into the mic, and clearly give your name and address. The meetings are recorded and broadcast on our website, Facebook, YouTube, Roku, and other platforms. It is important to speak into the mic so that the reviewers at home may hear you. Each speaker has 3 minutes to address comments to the town board, staff, department heads. It is up to the board to grant an extension if needed. All speakers must be respectful and conduct themselves appropriately. There is zero tolerance for personal attacks on town staff, town officials, any members of the audience, or any person having a matter before the board. If a speaker does not meet these expectations, their time to speak will be immediately terminated. Please address all questions and comments to the town supervisor. Please understand that the public input period is not designed to be a discussion, and the board will not respond directly to anything stated. The town board exercises the right to invite guests to present information on subjects that we or the public at large needs to learn about, be informed of, get updates on, or on particular subjects, programs, events, or areas of interest in an open public meeting. The town board will determine the time the speaker will present on a case-by-case basis. I'll ask Madam Clerk to keep the time. I will advise each speaker when their time is concluded. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Supervisor Evans,
Here.
Councilwoman Cunningham,
Here.
Councilman Malone,
Present.
Councilman Perticone,
Here.
Councilman Lehner,
Here.
Attorney for the town.
Here.
When I was out this weekend, I met a resident, Peter Costanza, and I was very impressed with his care for the neighborhood, and I just want to call him out. There was a zombie home next to him, and so instead of complaining about who should cut the grass, he took it on himself to take responsibility for his neighborhood and cut the grass and lean forward. So we need more town residents like him, and we talked for a little bit about the greatness of our communities, that we take care of each other, and that we protect our neighborhoods, and that we keep our neighborhoods beautiful. We'll soon have renderings of the work that's being done in the backyard at Camp Eastman. And if you visit Camp Eastman later, we will soon have a splash pad. Speaking of community events, this is Pride Month. We're asking all community members who are part of or allies to the LGBTQAI community to join us at our regular town board meeting on the 21st of June for a proclamation. You will notice the flags on Columbus Way. The flags are a proclamation that our community is open and our community is diverse. On June 13th, from 9 until 12, we'll host our first Economic Development Forum. We're excited about that. I know our director has more information later, so I'll not steal his thunder. Flag Day celebration is this Friday, June 14th at 7 p.m. at Town Hall. On Saturday, June 15th, we will host our Juneteenth celebration. Juneteenth is our newest federal holiday that celebrates the true beginning of when we as a nation finally took the first steps to acknowledge that all are created equal, with the abolition of slavery as the Civil War came to an end. Juneteenth is in partnership with Erase, and there will be a 5K run at 8 a.m., followed by a Juneteenth celebration on our campus with vendors and entertainment. We're going to switch it up a little bit on July 3rd. We have the reading of the Declaration of Independence, followed by a 2-mile and 10K run on July 4th, and celebration on our town campus to include dancing and fireworks. So we're excited about that. And remember, this is the 50th anniversary of our Irondequoit 4th of July celebration. Every Thursday afternoon, we have the farmers market, and we have some great entertainers, great vendors. We look forward to seeing you there every Thursday. And the summer hours for the clerk office on the second and third Thursday of every month will be open, or June, July, and August will be open from 8 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. During farmers market. So if you need something done at the clerk office, you can do that. We have a presentation, and the presentation we have from the Irondequoit Garden Walks Initiative. Do you have an audio visual? Okay. If the board members can't see it, you're welcome to join us off the dais to see it. Okay. You're okay?
I can see it. Yeah, I can see
Okay.
it. I can see
All
it.
right. Great. Thank you. Say again. I think we can all see it from here. Thank you. Please step up and use the mic, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Sue McGee. I'm a resident of Irondequoit, and I
Your
thank you
address,
for the
ma'am?
opportunity. Pardon?
Your address.
69 Fairview Crescent. I thank you for the opportunity to be able to present this initiative to you. The leadership team here with me is Barbara James and Chris Hennings, and we're just going to briefly give you a little background for each of us. I've been a resident here for over 30 years in Irondequoit. I've lived on both the east side and the west side. I'm currently retired, and I retired from Cornell Cooperative Extension. I was the coordinator of the Master Gardener program there.
I'm Barb James. I've been here, I think, 30 years, 32 actually. I live over on Pine Grove Avenue next to the park, which is a challenge, as you know, as far as gardening because of the deer. But I'm a master gardener with Cooperative Extension. I'm also retired. And Stu and I came up with this idea a couple of years ago after we heard about the Buffalo Garden Walk and a couple of other local garden walks. And we're excited to put this together for you.
Hello, I'm Chris Henning. I live at 113 Schofield Road. I've been there about 10 years now. I now work from home, and during the pandemic, my partner and I started gardening. We were really excited to find the opportunity to begin a garden walk and be part of something in the community. That's why I'm here, and I have a technical background, so that's why I brought the laptop and trying to help out make this all happen. So thank you guys for hearing us today.
All right. Can you speak into the microphone, ma'am?
Yeah, are the microphones working? Can't really evidence that they're working. Maybe the gain is just very low.
So the concept for the garden walk is it's a self-guided garden walk throughout Irondequoit, and it would be on a specific day or a weekend if it grew to that extent. The goal is to encourage residents to garden, to participate in gardening. There's no restriction as to type of garden. I mean, it could be somebody that's growing vegetables on their front lawn. It's not just ornamental flower gardens. And the result, hopefully, of all of this is we create some, great community roots, building community. Neighbors may network more, neighborhood associations, and then, of course, throughout the connections throughout the entire town. This concept is based on in the city of Buffalo, they have a garden walk program. It started in, 1995, and it came out of a local neighborhood association with 29 participants. And now I think they're close to their 25th year, and they have over 400 gardens. And it's just a huge all-day event for the city, and it's expanded to, in addition to resident gardens, commercial properties have started gardening, churches have started gardens, so it's really expanded beyond neighborhood homes. Locally, there are some garden walks in the area. Within Irondequoit, there's the Winona Woods Neighborhood Association that has a garden walk every other year, and they are having it later this month in June. Within the city of Rochester, there's the Maplewood Garden Walk, which is in association with the Maplewood Rose Festival. The Browncroft area has a garden walk every other year. And finally, the ABC Street neighborhood within the Park Ave area also has a garden walk every other year. As far as next steps, I'm going to have my partner, Chris, he's going to speak to that.
Wonderful, thank you. So some of our next steps that we have coming up are going to be, well, first of all, we did select a date, July 20th, 2025, so just a little bit more than a year from now. And we're planning on 1 to 4 p.m. And with that, some of the other next steps, of course, will be how are we going to communicate this? So we already started a website, which is listed here. Invite you to check that out. But on there, we'll, of course, also be featuring social media, Instagram, the Nextdoor.com app, and other community bulletin boards. The neighborhood associations, ask them to, help, relay the message for us. And we would also like to get a table at the farmers market. And then, of course, email lists, any lists that we might be able to obtain from the different communities, the different associations. Go ahead and go to the next slide for me. So we have some key, rollout targets that we're going to try to accomplish. We have a bunch of different tasks that we need to, try to get in place before we can make this event happen, of course. So with that, July 1st of this year, we're hoping to announce to the town, aside from here right now, that we will be taking on this initiative and inviting the town residents that do want to participate. And with that, July 20th, a year from the actual event, we'll open our registration and allow them to, start thinking about what they want to do with their gardens and start planning and preparing their gardens. So then early 2025, we're going to start recruiting and assigning volunteers because a big event like this will require, some help from lots of people. So it's not just going to be us three. And then, we are the leading team, but if anybody else wants to join, we're, of course, not restricted to that. We will welcome any help that we can get. So later in June, getting close to the event, we're going to print and distribute some flyers. And then July 1st, we're going to print the signage, very similar to like the, I'm in Parkside, and we just had a garage sale, and they had the Parkside garage sale arrows on the different streets. So wherever there's going to be a garden, we'll make an appropriate sign so that we can help people find the path. We are also going to set up an interactive map with Google so that people can find their way to the different gardens as well, all throughout Irondequoit. And then July 19th, the day before the event, of course, that'll be the home run to getting things set up, everything from multiple check-ins for the guests so that they can get any information they need. If they have any problems, accessing the website or the virtual map, we'll have some hard copies for them. And just giving them, general information and resources, especially if they want to start gardening. And then July 20th, the actual event, which, again, we're so excited about. And, I think that's it for those slides. Oh, funding. And I'll turn this over to Barb.
What we're anticipating is that we're not going to have tickets, we're not going to charge to be on this. We would, of course, accept donations from anybody who wants to have their garden on the tour, and from people who go on the tour, we'll probably have some kind of a way to donate to cover the cost. We don't anticipate this is going to be an enormous expense, but there'll be costs for signs and that kind of thing. We will also be probably asking for sponsorships from local businesses, garden centers, restaurants, anybody else, and hopefully this will encourage the local commercial places also to think about sprucing up their property with a little something that they could showcase. And in that regard too, we're not trying to make this any kind of a juried show or anything. We just want to share ideas for different gardens. I was talking to somebody Saturday, and she mentioned that she had her vegetable garden set up so that the kids could come in and easily access and that's with the deer that can be a challenge. But those kind of ideas, sharing those ideas with all the town residents, and then so somebody could say, "Oh, look at that! That's something I could do at my house." So that's our goal, is to share information and build community. I think that's it as far as our presentation. Any questions?
Now, were you looking for a partnership with the town?
Yes, please. Yes.
And how many gardeners do we have that you think you would need to be a successful event?
Well, I think, for example, the Buffalo started off with 29. I think here in Irondequoit that's very accomplishable. I think if we get a lot more, that's wonderful. But I think 29 is a great starting point.
Yeah, I know Winona Woods has about 10 stops on their tour. Yeah, and that's just one association. So if we're doing the whole town, if we can get 30 to 50 to start off with, I think that'd be awesome.
So are you going to, say, for instance, you want your garden, right? You're going to come and they have to let you know, or you're just going to, okay, you can have your garden in there. Is there any kind of prerequisite? Do you need certain things in your garden, or, large, small, doesn't matter?
So no, as Sue was saying, it can be as simple as just somebody having some potted plants where they're doing some vegetables, or just some, small flowers. They're just mainly just trying to share ideas. Even if you have, you're living in Irondequoit and you have an apartment with a balcony and you want a garden, we don't suggest that we're going to have people invited into homes, but, if there's a patio and somebody wants to look at the flowers on the patio, that's totally acceptable.
Okay, then the homeowner will be there, and then people will come, and then they can answer questions.
Correct, yeah.
Like that. Okay.
Yeah.
There'll probably be a online registration for homeowners that want to participate, that would
Okay.
collect their contact information.
Okay. They send you pictures too? Is that something you'd want?
Well, we're trying not to have any judgment on the garden.
Okay.
It's some people may have pots on their front stoop. Other people may have like no lawn on their front yard because it's all gardens.
Yeah,
We
okay.
just want to encourage any type of gardening, and I do think that through this process, it's like a snowball. People see what others are doing, and
Sure.
they think, "Oh, I can do this, or I can expand what I'm already doing." And we don't want people to feel they have to have it perfectly manicured in order to participate.
Okay.
I was wondering if you had reached out to the the neighborhood associations, they have a roundtable, so you can go that way too.
Yes, this idea was presented to them first.
Perfect.
Because we intend to use the associations to help with the communication of the event.
Great.
So,
Perfect.
and we also, just for information, we did meet with the folks that organize the Winona Woods Garden Tour, as well as those that do the ABC Street Garden Tour in the Park Ave area.
The South Wedge, they just did a history walk, and they had a punch card, and they had some of the businesses in the area make donations, and if you got a certain number of punches, you could enter it into a raffle to win those prizes. It kind of
That's a good
encouraged
idea.
attendance.
Yeah, help get back to the businesses. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It'll be great also if we are on June 13th at the for Business Forum. It'll be great to build community if you guys can attend that, and also just meet some of the business owners and or people interested in business to drive that.
Is that this June 13th?
Yes, it's in a couple of days. Yeah, 3 days.
In the evening or daytime?
During the daytime, from 9 until 1 p.m. at the library.
Okay.
Sorry, 12, excuse me. 9 to 12.
Great.
Any other questions?
That sounds wonderful.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we have updates from our department heads. Mr. Assessor?
Good afternoon. The 2024 assessment grievance filing period ended on 28 May at 8 p.m. Prior to that date, we had resolved approximately 20 parcels via clerical corrections with the county. We received 116 residential grievances, 22 commercial grievances. Each grievance was met and with a custom analysis that was produced in accordance with Real Property Tax Law 305A. The Board of Assessment Review met 3 times, the first day being the 28th of May, 2nd, 3rd of June, and then the 7th of June. At 2 of those dates, we had a panel but not a quorum, so the bar will meet once again, such that in a quorum form, such that they finalize all the paperwork in accordance with the Real Property Tax Law that says that a quorum must adjudicate and review all paperwork. 7 commercial properties in litigation were closed and resolved, and we are now awaiting the final roll that will be issued on 1 July, and after that, homeowners that grieved who are still not satisfied with the outcome can go to the SCAR process, which is the Small Claims Assessment Review process, which is held by the Supreme Court of Monroe County. And that is all, pending any questions.
Mr. Director?
Got a bunch of updates here from my part of the world. The building department, 161 permits were issued last month. That's a 40% increase over April. We're looking at 101 building and construction inspections that were performed during last month. It's nearly $2 million in new construction activity that's been proposed or is underway in the town currently. Our code enforcement office has seen a massive increase in their workflow in the last month. 232 new code enforcement complaints. That's a 132% increase from the month prior. 126 of those were grass-related complaints. On the issue of grass-related complaints, the process has been followed from the code enforcement office. During that process, in working with our partners in the Department of Public Works, we identified some safety concerns for our employees who are asked to mow certain lawns. As part of that process, we've worked with them along with the Chief of Police to identify a safety plan that ensures our employees are as safe as possible to accomplish the task of cutting grass at deficient properties throughout town. So you will now see that taking place, which, obviously there was a little bit of a lag time we apologize for, but that was, a safety-related concern. Our fire marshal's office saw 15 complaints that they investigated last month, 2 structure fires, 2 open burning complaints. In terms of staffing, we are hopefully, with any luck, going to hire an assistant fire marshal pending board approval this evening. we've started the process for hiring a building inspector. Hope to have somebody in process for the July board meeting. And then relative to the supervisor's comments on our economic development forum, that'll be hosted this Thursday, starting at 9 a.m. at the Irondequoit Library. We're excited to be hosting a number of local business owners who've committed to attend. We're inviting anyone who's interested in starting a business in the town of Irondequoit to join us. We'll have speakers from the Chamber of Commerce in Irondequoit, the Urban League of Rochester, Greater Rochester Enterprise, Empire State Development, SCORE, Small Business Administration, and more. We hope that anybody that's interested that they're going to join us as well. The door will be open at 9 a.m. for anybody interested at all. And that is all for me.
Thank you.
I have a question. Bill, you mentioned, you know, and I'm getting complaints as well, too. There hasn't been any grass cut up to this point. Am I correct?
That would have been correct last week. However,
Okay.
all lawns have been cut as of today.
All right, so there was 123, did you say?
There were 126 complaints.
Okay.
That could be multiple for the same address.
All right. So is the DPW, they're cutting lawns now?
That's correct.
All right,
We're
so
working
they're-
with them to make that
You're
happen.
directing them to what lawns need to be cut?
We forward them a list of lawns that need to be cut after it's gone through the process that's identified in the town code.
Because if you just started cutting lawns now, they're pretty long right now. I
Yeah.
would imagine.
Yep.
Because some of the complaints, I went and did some investigating last week myself, that people were complaining about, so it's good to hear that they're complaining. What is a safety issue that we have?
I can't speak to 100% specifics. I can say generally it's a safety complaint with occupied homes and folks that are not happy with the fact that the town is coming to mow the lawn even though they haven't mowed it themselves.
Okay, because I don't recall that ever being an issue, but maybe it is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't remember that being an issue ever before, so.
Yeah, and I can't speak to what's happened in the past.
Okay.
I can just say that we did have a couple of relatively legitimate concerns raised in our first wave of lawns to be cut. It shouldn't be an issue moving forward, and we should be, moving past this.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Director?
Thank you. Short one from Thanks. This is a project too. Getting the microphones for ICAT squared away. Ongoing project just for cloud conversion is still undergoing. The financial system is wrapping up. We actually see the end in sight there. And we're now ramping up the payroll system. So those are the big things from IT.
All right, any questions? Mr. Manager, standing in for Ms. Commissioner.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Just a few things out of DPW for this month. Our oil and stone program has begun. It actually started last week. So we'll be working through that, and it should finish up about next week for our selected roads that need treatment. Seneca Road contractor has reported that the base and binder portion or phase actually has been completed, and the entire project should be near completion in the next few weeks. The new Titus Avenue sidewalks will commence also in the next few weeks, so that's basically from Hudson Avenue over to Irondequoit Plaza, which will complete the sidewalk that's missing over there, which went out for bid and all that, so we should be set for that in the next few weeks to get that completed. Right now, out for bid is our Bellhurst pump station replacement, and that'll be one of our last of our 28 pump stations to get refurbed and then replaced. And then progress obviously continues to our backyard project, and as the supervisor mentioned, the Camp Eastman. And that's all we have. So, thank you.
Any questions? Madam Director?
Thank you. Well, lucky me, the supervisor actually knocked quite a few off of my list of updates for this month, so thank you, including Flag Day, Juneteenth, July 4th, and the Farmers Market. Little update on Farmers Market, just FYI for everybody. The current market that is taking place on Columbus will run through October 10th, and then we'll take a short program break until November 7th, where we will resume weekly markets at the market building. So we're pretty excited to actually be pushing this into gear year-round now. Only other thing, this is also camp season. Recreation is hosting 9 different camp programs this summer. We hire approximately 70 seasonal staff, we begin training with those folks on the 17th, and then camp programs start the last week in June. But we're excited about that as well. We were able to expand our number and variety of offerings this summer, as well as expand our program dates so that parents and kiddos have more time at camp this year.
Thank you. Any questions? Madam Deputy?
Thank you, Supervisor. Human Resources is conducting orientations. We're trying to fill the vacancies as quickly as we can, and due to retirements and resignations, we're recruiting for custodians and cleaners around the building. That's really all for us.
Any questions? Chief?
All right, let's see if this works. There we go. Last week we had our luncheon for our 100th anniversary. Basically, it was for the police officers and retirees. We had that up at St. Paul's exempts, and it was well attended, including by Mr. Supervisor there. It was nice to get the people that have laid the foundation for our young officers to actually get them to actually interact and actually have a little FaceTime so they can actually reminisce and get to see that. So it was good. That's going to be one of our many events planned for the year. We did address some of the locations that are doing illegal cannabis sales throughout the town last week. We brought in Office of Cannabis Management, Department of Taxation and Finance, and our own criminal investigations. We hit 3 different locations, boarded the places up. Obviously, it's trying to get this issue under control to try and figure out to wait till we actually get licensed cannabis sales locations established. So it was a good day. Things worked out well, so we're still waiting for working with the state to get that taken care of. We have a new recruit. We're going to be starting tomorrow. Get her all sworn in, orientation, and then she starts the academy on the 12th. So that'll give us the academy class that's going on. It looks like they have almost 70 recruits that are going to be in the class with about 15 different agencies. So it should be it'll be pretty good to actually have some good wide range of experience for her to get through there. So, and then I just signed an MOU today for us to get our investigator hooked up with the FBI task force for crimes against children. So that's another federal task force that obviously will be bringing the full investigative capability against crimes against children. So well needed. So, and that's about it.
Thank you. I also want to thank you for that invitation. It was good to see some old friends. It also is a good reminder of how old I am now. But thank you. It was a good time. Any questions?
Yeah, Chief, if I could, I want to thank you for that comment about the cannabis that's going on. I have friends in tennis down there at the Blue Palm area, and that's the hot spot, okay? And I want to thank you for that because that's been ongoing for quite a while. Thank you. Perfect.
Madam Clerk?
From the clerk's office, actually the supervisor stole some of my thunder. We're excited hopefully today to pass that we've hired a new employee, a new clerk in the office, pending the approval tonight. The summer hours, we are looking at the second and third Thursday of the month for June, July, and August, 8:30 to 6:30. The clerk's office will be open. And we'll be taking appointments for marriage license and passports later in the evening. And also our marriage license and passports have the appointments have tremendously increased, that we're doing on average about 6 to 7 a day, when we were only doing 2 or 3 a day.
Madam Controller.
Thank you. As Kevin said, we are finishing up our financial system update. As IT said, we are finishing up our financial system update. We are in the process of proofing numbers. I'm happy to say we have a financial report, though it is a month lagging. It will be for April. We do have a financial report this month. We are also working on our CDBG annual action plan, which is due to HUD by the 14th of this month. And we are just in the beginning stages of planning testing for the 2025 budget.
Madam Controller, do we have a financial report tonight?
Do you want me to do that, or are we?
Like I said the first time, Madam Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I just have 2 brief things for an update, nothing on the litigation front. In terms of legislation, you'll hear more about it later tonight because it's on the agenda for next week. There's going to be a public hearing to conform the current floodplain law to the DEC requirements. That's on the agenda for next week. And then I know I've mentioned this before, but LaBelle is still working on updating the zoning code, and that's an ongoing process, but they're still actively working on that.
Madam Controller, may we have the financial report?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Excuse me. The 2024 financial results for the town as of April 30th. 33.3% of the year has elapsed, and the town's total expenses are higher than budget at 39.8%. The equivalent expenses are $16,811,000 and break down in this manner. Encumbrances, $2,178,000 or 5.2% of budget, and actual expenditures, $14,633,000 or 34.6%. The general fund expenses are higher than budget at 44.3% or $11,864,000. The breakdown is actual expenditures, $10,971,000, and encumbrances, $893,000. Included in the actual expenditures are ARPA-funded projects of $2,600,000 for the street lighting purchase, which was completed early 2024, and for the tree maintenance program of approximately $640,000. With the transition of the financial system, the amendments for these projects have not been recorded on the system, but should be reflected in the next financial report. Jointly, the expenses in the highway funds are $1,980,000 or 31.8% of budget, on par with the 33% of the year that has elapsed. Expenditures in the library are above budget at $1,061,000 or 37.1%. This is attributed to the annual debt service payment for the consolidated library project, which were paid during the month. The unfavorable impact of those line item expenses will level off by year end. The sewer fund expenses of $1,242,000 are below budget at 30.3%. Stormwater drainage is under budget as well at 18.2%, a total of $171,000. The general fund has received revenue of $15,316,000 or 57.6% of budget. At the end of April, the town has received $12,700,000 or 100% of real estate tax and 102% of payment in lieu of tax payments. Other major sources of revenue such as sales tax, mortgage tax, franchise cable fees, and per capita state aid are not yet due. Regarding the entire town, $27,276,000 or 65.5% of revenue and appropriated fund balance has been recorded to date. Approximately $19,200,000 of the amount received is real estate tax, 100% of that budget. At month end, the library has received $2,765,000, or 97.2% of its budgeted revenue. 78.7%, or $4,758,000, has been verified by the highway funds. $3,762,000 is in for the sewer fund, which is 97.9% of that fund's budget. And the stormwater drainage has received 100% of its budgeted revenue, $942,000. This concludes the financial report for the month of April 2024.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, we have some items for review for the upcoming town board meeting. Madam Clerk, can you read the first item?
First item would be a public hearing scheduled for 7:35, item number 1, on the matter of granting a special use permit for 775 Titus Avenue in the mixed-use commercial district and referring same to the planning board for comment.
Mr. Stewart.
I'm happy to explain it. So this is two things that are on. The public hearing is scheduled. The planning board, I believe, is meeting today to consider this, and they'll issue a report hopefully by tomorrow. So the board will have that by next week. The request is for up to 124 outdoor seats at the Irondequoit Beer Company, and then there's a resolution to follow after the public hearing.
Any questions, comments? Madam Clerk, read the next item.
Next item would be public hearing number 2 on the matter of rezoning 41 Lorraine Drive, tax ID 076.15-6-45 from R1 Residential District to Mixed-Use Commercial District.
Madam Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This is the same, there'll be a public hearing on this next week at the board meeting with the resolution hopefully to follow. Again, it's pending action from the planning board. The town board referred it to the planning board last board meeting. This is a request to change the zoning for this particular address to mixed-use commercial, which is consistent with other properties in that area.
Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk, next item.
Item number 1 under appointments, authorizing the permanent appointment of a recreation leader in the Irondequoit Recreation Department.
Madam Director?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This resolution will allow us to move forward with the permanent hire of Adam Mendez, a recreation leader who we brought on provisionally last June. He took and successfully completed the civil service exam, and we would like to bring him on permanently. He's become a great member of the recreation family and the town family, and has become a great asset to the community. So we're happy to recommend him for permanent hire.
Thank you. I've worked with him before, and it's a good choice. Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk?
Item number 2, authorizing an agreement for a townwide recognizance level historic resource survey.
Mr. Director?
Yeah, this resolution is for the Historic Preservation Commission. They're looking to enlist the services of a third party to do a reconnaissance of the town relative to any historic buildings or structures.
I could maybe add a couple things. I've been on the selection committee with them, and we have interviewed, 3 very well-qualified firms, and we're going to be bringing it before this board, a resolution to select one of them. I think, we've talked about this townwide assessment of historic properties for quite a while, and I know that the Preservation Board has been doing a lot of work in regards to getting this ready, and an RFP out. They've done a great job putting the documents together, the requests together, and a great job, in my opinion, the analysis of everything that we got in. And so we'll be bringing this before you at the next meeting for hopefully your consideration and approval.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Madam Clerk?
Item number 3, authorizing an agreement for lead paint testing services related to the home improvement program.
Mr. Director?
Yeah, this is relative to an RFP that was placed for lead paint testing. That's part of our IHIP program, part of our CDBG program as well.
Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk?
We did have 3 walk-ins for the comptroller, authorizing an agreement with Sunset House for an award and use of American Rescue Plan Act funding.
Madam Controller?
This resolution is being presented to authorize a grant award to the Sunset House through the ARPA funding. The Sunset House has been able to show reduced revenue and increased cost. This has been approved by the town's consultant at Bonadio Group.
Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk, read the next item.
We'll continue with the comptrollers, and then I have 2 that I need to go back to. Item number 5, authorizing an agreement with Irondequoit Ambulance for award and use of American Rescue Plan Act funding.
Madam Controller?
Thank you. This resolution, again, would award the Irondequoit Ambulance ARPA funding for the purchase of chest compressors. They approached the town, and they do have a need for these in their service. This, again, was approved by Bonadio Group.
Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk, next item.
Item number 6, under the comptrollers, authorizing an agreement with St. Paul Boulevard Fire District for award and use of American Rescue Plan Act funding.
St. Paul Fire District approached the town prior to COVID. They had a company who was able to fill their self-contained breathing apparatus. When COVID came in 2020, the company no longer provides that service. The fire districts in Irondequoit are now driving out of the town to fill those, which could delay response times. So this resolution would authorize St. Paul Fire District to purchase the necessary the self-contained breathing apparatus to be shared with all the districts in the town. And this was again approved by Bonadio Group.
Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk?
Under Community Development, we have an amendment to the budget, to the 2024 budget.
Madam Controller?
Thank you. This resolution would amend the budget to accept the grant that was awarded to the town last year for the historic preservation survey that Director Lang just spoke about. This would increase the revenue budget and also increase the appropriation to allow funding for that study to be completed.
Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk, next item.
Authorizing an amendment to the Chapter 136 Town Code for New York State DEC requirements.
Mr. Director?
Yeah, this is part of our administration of the FEMA floodplains that are located in the town. This is a requirement of both FEMA and New York State DEC. As part of our participation in their insurance program, of which we have more than 200 homeowners that participate in that, this language is pre-approved by both FEMA and DEC, and this rewrite is consistent with previous rewrites to this code.
Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk? Madam Clerk?
Authorizing the adoption of a progressive discipline policy.
Madam Deputy?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This resolution stemmed from a request from department heads for guidance on how to handle performance issues, and the director drafted the amendments to our handbook that list expectations and consequences.
Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk, next item.
Authorizing the attendance at the 34th Annual Colonial Henry F. Williams International Homicide Seminar.
Chief?
All right. Yes, this is for the annual homicide seminar that we send all of our investigators to. We have one brand new investigator. He's yet to attend this. And also I want to send my operations captain. He is obviously new to the position, and even though we don't get that many homicides, knock on wood, I would like him to actually go and actually learn a lot of the nuances about handling cases like this. They can actually share the same hotel room, so we'll save the costs right there. But I think it's very well, a lot of great information is talked about there, and especially handling some of these sensitive investigations that homicides bring.
Any questions or comments? Thank you, Chief. Madam Clerk?
Items for board action.
We have several more items for board action. Madam Clerk, can you read the first item?
Authorizing the provisional appointment of an assistant fire marshal in the Irondequoit Community Development Department.
Motion to adopt?
Moved.
May I have a second?
I'll second it.
Could I get an explanation?
Yeah, this resolution would authorize us to hire provisionally Ms. Heidi Bale, who has stayed with us throughout this entire meeting. I can speak very highly of her. She's lived in town for her entire life. She has a wealth of experience in both fire department operations as well as administration. So, highly recommend her.
Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Welcome, Ms. Bale.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Madam Clerk?
Authorizing the provisional appointment of an office clerk 3 in the Irondequoit Town Clerk's Department.
Motion to adopt?
Moved.
Second?
Second.
May I have an explanation? Madam Deputy?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. There was a vacancy for an office clerk 3 in the Irondequoit Town Clerk's office. The list was canvassed. It was deemed unviable, and we posted the position, and the interview committee would like to appoint Doreen Ives.
Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Welcome to the town. Madam Clerk?
Item number 3, accepting the proposal for the Irondequoit 10K and 5 Mile July 4th race administration.
Just correction, 2 Mile for the July 4th. Motion to adopt?
Moved.
Second?
Second.
May I have an explanation, Madam Director?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This resolution will allow us to move into contract with Robin Hood Racing for the 10K and 2-mile races for the 4th of July festival this year. We did send this out to RFP, and the selection committee unanimously agreed that Robin Hood would be the best candidate for the job.
Any questions or comments? With that, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Welcome, Robin Hood Racing. This concludes our,
Mr. Supervisor,
Yes.
sorry, I want to backtrack a little bit. I was going through the papers because we had the 2 walk-ins about the ARPA funding, and I didn't see any papers in here. And in hindsight, I have some concerns about the SCBA equipment for the fire department. I'm a huge supporter for the fire department, and generally when we've been doing ARPA-funded things like the ambulance is a little different. They get fee for service. I would just like to know more information about this capital expense for the fire department, in that they have their own ability to raise their own taxes and have their own capital expenditures and project their own costs. To me, it's a little different than, something like when we give to the ambulance or the hospice facilities or things like that. I would just like to know more about what we're proposing regarding that. What is the amount? I understand the necessity, but I'm just have a couple of pieces of information I'd like to get more information on before we make a decision on that.
right, I'd like to address the conversation that we had by using the ARPA funds. What we prevent is them raising more taxes. As you know, the majority of our taxes is not to the town, but it's the school and special districts. So by using the ARPA funds, it was a way to keep the taxes down because of this unplanned expenditure. And Madam Controller, do you remember the amount in total?
Well, it's just not to exceed, right?
About 147,000, I believe. And there is documentation on the website explaining where those costs, where that estimate came from.
I mean, okay, but
Well,
I
so
will
like-
say that, based on my tax bill, I'm in the St. Paul Fire District, and my taxes went up predominantly because of my fire district taxes. And again, like I said, I'm 100% in support of the fire service. But I just have, 140, I understand completely what you're saying, but my taxes for the fire district did go up very significantly in this last round of, after the revaluations. But I just really would like more of a presentation on why this capital expenditure is necessary through ARPA funding.
Great, no problem. I'll make sure that we'll get the police chief and, the fire chief here to explain the reasoning directly.
So if they get this ARPA funding, our fire district taxes aren't gonna go up? Is that what they're saying?
Well, if you get
point,
this,
John.
if you get this funding, it won't go up for this purpose.
I mean,
Okay.
it'll help, it'll ease the increase probably,
Yeah.
I would think, so. Yeah, if they
I
would
just think
come
it's a
and
different
explain-
thing that they're their own entity, that they can raise their own taxes, they can create their own budgets, and they can create their own capital expenditures. And I feel like the ARPA funding should be more for other entities that can't necessarily get their funding through taxpayers and tax levy.
Okay,
I don't disagree. That makes sense, Pete. Yep.
all right.
I see where you're going with that. Sure. Better explanation would help.
And,
Definitely.
everyone in the public has the right to go before any fire department's budget hearings and understand what their capital expenditures and how they are imbued in affect their taxes. And I understand completely that, this is probably an honorable grant, but I just wonder if we couldn't be better served using entities that can't fund themselves through their own tax levy.
Okay, good point. So we'll make sure that before this brings to a vote, we'll have the fire chief and explain his reasoning and go from there.
Makes sense.
And I don't know if that's better discussion at a workshop and maybe this should be tabled, or if it should be at the, before the town board meeting, but
Should we take a vote on?
You could. I'll also add to this, since this was a walk-in, there is an attachment that has the proposal from the fire department that wasn't included in your packet, so you probably haven't seen that yet.
there was nothing in my packet that I could find, and there was nothing, so
Right, so
there's
there
no
is-
reso, there's no, nothing.
Yep.
And I understand what the nature of the walk-in, I'm not complaining about any of that.
No, I was just saying that there is that information that will be attached to it, and we can circulate that now. It was just not in final form for this meeting, and that's why I just walked in.
Generally, the workshops are where we have the opportunity to discuss these items and not having the materials before us. I didn't just, and I admit I was late in this because I was trying to find it, that I had it, and I just thought maybe I overlooked it.
No.
And then we moved on, and again, through no fault of anyone, it's just the course of action. I just wanted to bring that back up. And
I think it's worth it maybe to circle back, and if we want to table it until we have a further discussion. So, all in favor for tabling the item until the next workshop? Aye?
Aye, I'll move it.
Aye. All opposed? All right, the item is tabled until the next workshop. So, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's do this over again. May I have a motion to to table this item?
I'll move it.
Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? The item is tabled until next workshop. And we'll invite the fire chief to attend. Okay. With that, following, this concludes our workshop meeting on June 10th, 2024. Thanks for that, Stephanie. Our next meeting is scheduled at the regular town board meeting at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, June 18th, here in the Broderick Room. Following the adjournment of the meeting, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Moved.
Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The meeting is adjourned.